If you've been doing the inner work, but it still doesn't feel like it's landing in your body, this is why. This is how journaling stops only being insight and starts becoming something your body actually remembers. So in this video, we're talking about handwritten integration, why the way you write changes how the brain stores your learning and experiences, and how to use journaling to actually integrate what you've been doing or what you have been experiencing. No more or not more work, not by analyzing harder, but by allowing your body and mind to remember and integrate. Okay, let's delve into it. So why handwriting changes the brain? Handwriting is not a preference, it's biological. So throughout this whole series, we've spoken about the neuroscience behind journaling, that journaling by hand. So I want to briefly bring that to a close in this video. So when we are emotionally activated or stressed, the brain tends to stay in an area that we call survival mode. It's often described as fight or flight and freeze. So in this state, the nervous system prioritizes speed and protection over learning, reflection, and integration, right? But with handwriting, that's where the magic starts. The handwriting slows down the system automatically, slows it down enough so that we can gently move ourselves out of that reactive loop, out of the noise, out of the drama. And it allows communication between the emotional centers of the brain and the higher cortical areas involved in meaning, reflection, and integration or regulation. Very important, regulation. So when you write by hand, you activate multiple brain areas at the same time. Motor circuits, through the physical movement of writing, seeing the letters forming as you write. Visual circuits, so you actually see the words taking shape as you write. Language circuits, through letter formation and expression. And then also memory systems, which includes the brainwave patterns associated with learning and consolidation, integration. So this simultaneous activation is very powerful, and that leads to the brain actually creating multiple hooks. So what I mean by memory hooks is when the brain creates multiple access points. So I see it as a network with folders and files that the brain creates. So those are the actual hooks. There are 4 main hooks that are involved in journaling. One being the motor hook, which has got to do with movement. So when you write by hand, your fingers are moving in unique, non-repetitive patterns. Your brain maps those movements. Later, your body remembers the act of writing itself. Whereas typing uses repetitive motion. It's a square that you click. There's not much involved there. It's repetitive. But handwriting is distinct, and embodied, right? Then the other hook, visual hook, the visual or the spatial hook, uh, when you can remember where you were when you were writing this. So many people remember things like, oh, it was on the left page in that corner, or I circled it with this color, I wrote it bigger, I used more exclamation marks, all those things. So that's spatial memory. And that's very, 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 very powerful. A typed document looks the same everywhere, but a handwritten page does not look the same everywhere. It changes. So visually, there's your connection. Thirdly, we have a sensory or an emotional hook, how it felt when you wrote these words. Handwriting is slower. That slowness allows emotional connection, and it allows emotion to register instead of being bypassed. Try it for yourself. When you write, how do you feel? When you type, how do you feel? There's a huge difference. The brain begins to link the meaning, the feeling, the timing, and that is why handwritten insights tend to stay longer with us. And then the fourth hook, the cognitive meaning hook, where it's about effort. So the extra effort involved in sitting down and writing with a pen on paper, that sends a clear signal to the brain, this requires my attention, this is important. This is known as desirable difficulty, okay? Effort, you're doing the practice, you're doing the work, so the effort strengthens the memory encoding. So it becomes more integrated on a deeper level, whereas typing feels efficient. It feels like, oh, I'm doing what I'm supposed to do. So, and then handwriting feels more intentional. So let's look at typing versus handwriting. Typing prioritizes speed. Think of that. Typing prioritizes speed. The mind is moving quickly, the body is relatively still, and the sympathetic nervous system can remain engaged. This doesn't mean, and please, this is not what I'm saying. I don't say that typing is bad. But it does mean that it often keeps us closer to that fight and flight mode state, activating the lower part of the brain. But handwriting prioritizes meaning. Slowness becomes a desirable difficulty, as I mentioned before. Your attention is fully on what you are doing. Everything focus on that particular effort you are acting on. So this effort tells the brain, this matters, this is important. And that's why handwriting supports the integration rather than just expression, rather than just getting it out there. With handwriting, there's more to just the story. What is integration now really? You may ask. So integration is not. It's not analyzing, it's not fixing. It's not performing, it's not labeling, and it's not judging. Integration is embodied clarity, coherence, the nervous system organizing experiences and also observing without force. Just taking a step back and looking at another perspective. So you can think of it as integration, coherence, and that creates inner safety. It regulates the nervous system and you feel safe. Nothing needs to be solved, something is just being settled. Okay, now for the fun part, the practice. How do we do this? So this week is about finalizing the series, but it keeps things grounded and simple. Now it's over to you to do the work. So your practice might include, here's a few examples of how you can use journaling as to suit your practice. So you can do handwritten summaries, you can do visual mapping, like drawing, using arrows and symbols, circles, all those things, reflections, using reflections, daily logs, remember the brain dumping, if that feels supportive, just writing things down. And then also there's something called art journaling, which you can do. So I just want to show you, I've got 2 books that I'm using for myself. This one is a general journaling book. I keep it for that. Also sometimes strategies that I like to do, I write it in here. And then this book, this journaling book, I usually use for insights or reflections, contemplations I have after deep inner work, like when I'm holding ceremonies, when I do meditation. That's where I use this one. And just a few pages, as you can see, I use color, drawing pictures like there. I've actually even sometimes print something out and using that and then summarizing it, putting it in my own words, and so forth and so forth. So it's really up to you. Use this. And by the way, this is my pencil bag, and I've got crayons, pencils and pens. So have fun. Just bring your inner child out to play with you. There's no correct way of doing this. This is, like I said, that's what I showed you. But really, like I said, have fun. Your tools look like your tools. What matter is that they invite you to slow down and to stay present. Messy is perfect. Personal is powerful. Messy is perfect. Personal is powerful. Remember that. Messy is perfect. Personal is powerful. You might think, why 4 videos? And to just quickly give you a bit of insight, across this journey, each style of journaling has trained different areas or different neural circuits. So we started with expressive journaling, the brain dumping, which releases the emotional load. Then we did gratitude journaling, where it stabilizes and rewires your focus, your attention. Last week we did reflective reframing, which builds resilience. And now this week we did handwritten integration, which consolidates the learning. There's that word again, consolidates learning. And this is important, very important. You don't need to do all for every day. You do journaling when it's calling you. Let your nervous system choose what it needs. There is something in having a practice, but listen to yourself, listen to your body, listen to your needs. If you would like to revisit the full journey, I'll drop the link in the description below so you can watch all full videos, as there are much more detail into every area in each video. Over time, people notice subtle but really meaningful shifts. It's slower reactivity, faster emotional recovery, clearer memory, a deeper sense of inner safety, and also a space of stepping back and looking at things from a different perspective, but also taking a step back and observing from a more objective space. Mind the gap. So this inner work becomes something you can actually live from and not just understand. So it becomes an embodied self-coaching practice, if you want to see it that way. You're welcome to continue the practice, revisit previous videos in this series, as I mentioned before. The link is below, and if you would like to dig deeper, you're welcome to subscribe to my channel or sign up for my newsletter. And if you feel that someone might benefit from this video, feel free to forward it to them. So be kind to yourself and everybody around you. So much love, many blessings on your journey and path, and I will connect with you again. Namaste.